These days, paleontologist Jack Horner is the only major proponent of the view that Tyrannosaurus was purely a scavenger, but then again he was also recently named in certain files, so it makes sense he didn't want his name associated with the word predator. Most respectable experts now accept that T-Rex was both a scavenger and an active predator, like most modern large carnivores. Evidence of the animal being an active predator comes in the form of the fossil of a duck-billed dinosaur called Edmontosaurus that had Tyrannosaur-inflicted damage on its tail. The fact that the damage seems to have healed suggests the duckbill survived the attack, i.e. a T-Rex had attempted to actively predate upon it but failed like a noob. In all fairness, most modern predators fail their hunts most of the time as well. First of all, it should be obvious this animal was no giant chicken, as we just established it was a predator of some very large animals. But also secondly, in 2004, filamentous structures, which are widely recognized as the precursor to feathers, were found on a small Chinese relative of T-Rex named D. Long, which coincidentally was also my nickname in college. Anyway, because of that, as well as the 2009 description of a much larger feathered tyrannosaur also from China known as Utyrannus, there has been serious debate over whether or not T-Rex too was feathered. However, Jurassic World Richard riders, i.e. the anti-feather gang, will be happy to know that we have discovered some small skin impressions of T-Rex, and they seem to suggest it was a mostly or entirely scaled animal. Unfortunately, I have to tell you that we just don't really know how T-Rex did the deed. After all, no one was filming for Dino Hub at the time. What I can tell you is that paleontologist and widely known racist and overall bad person Henry Fairfield Osborn speculated in 1906 that the animal's arms may have been used to grasp a mate during T-Rex and chill time. That said, we are now not so sure that's what the arm's primary function was, so what were they used for? Stay tuned to find out, he says to cunningly boost view duration. But back to the current question, we assume T-Rex didn't have the same fun reproductive bits that we do and instead likely had a cloaca like modern crocs and birds. The recent discovery of a unique fossil of the small plant-eating dinosaur Psittacosaurus with some interesting preserved soft tissue supports this. When the average Joe thinks about a non-bird dinosaur as a living animal rather than just a skeleton, they envision, well, pretty much everything wrong. One of the things people incorrectly think larger carnivorous dinosaurs could do was roar like a lion, tiger, or Katy Perry. While it is correct that we'll probably never truly know what extinct species truly sounded like, fossils as always should give us clues. For example, fossilized T-Rex brain cases have been found, which has allowed science hippies to learn what the animal's brain actually looked like. By CT scanning these brain cases, we now know this dinosaur could hear low-frequency sounds particularly well, so it stands to reason it would have been making those sort of sounds as well. Rather than roaring its head off like an idiot, maybe T-Rex just hissed and grumbled. The arms of a T-Rex are often the mini elephant in the room when discussing this animal. That's because they were, to word it in a way that won't make cancel it again, fun size. The arms of Tyrannosaurus measured only 3.3 feet long, or 1 meter, which has led some paleontologists to conclude they were vestigial. Vestigial, of course, meaning very small and non-functional, much like your boyfriend's pee-pee. In fact, a 2022 study argued the arms were so tiny simply so T-Rex didn't bite each other's off during interactions, particularly during group feedings. However, it is known that the biceps of a T-Rex were capable of lifting at least 439 pounds or 199 kilograms. This suggests the arms may have had some functionality, we just don't know for what, just like with your boyfriend's pee-pee. Odds are you've heard of Pangaea, the ancient supercontinent that comprised of all the planet's major land masses, and odds are you associate it with dinosaurs and assume T-Rex lived there. However, as the US's current loudmouth in chief would say, that is fake news. Pangaea first formed around 335 million years ago, well before the dinosaurs showed up, and went through a serious breakup around 200 million years ago. Tyrannosaurus, meanwhile, lived 68 to 66 million years ago during the latest Cretaceous, and most T-Rex remains have been found in the Hell Creek Formation of the US states of Montana, Wyoming, and the Dakotas. At the time, this area was warm and humid, similar to America's Wang, i.e. Florida, and was home to many large animals like Triceratops, Edmontosaurus, and, of course, T-Rex. Well, the answer to this question can be determined based on two things. One, are you in peak physical condition, or are you as out of shape as your average Dunkin' Donuts loving American? And two, which estimate are we going with? Because if you did not know, science hippies have produced a huge range of possible maximum running speeds for Tyrannosaurus rex, mostly around 20 miles per hour or 32 kilometers per hour, but also as high as 45 miles or 72 kilometers per hour. Though luckily for Jeep drivers, an adult T-Rex running the latter speed is considered highly unlikely. A very recent study whose authors looked at T-Rex foot biomechanics suggested that its foot likely works similarly to modern birds, meaning shorter stride lengths, higher stride frequencies, and a higher overall top speed. You just know this question was asked by a dude. Anyhow, we have enough fossils to know Tyrannosaurus rex was one of the largest land carnivores of all time, and a specimen nicknamed Scotty is often referred to as the largest T-Rex ever discovered. They measured approximately 43 feet or 13 meters long, and based on the latest research weighed about as much as your mother, or 9.7 tons or 8,870 kilograms. That may be pretty big, but not only is that what she said, but what's even more wild is that because body size often varies significantly between individuals within a species, a 2024 study suggested it's possible the very largest Tyrannosaurus may have been up to 70% larger than Scotty and weighed 16.5 tons or 15,000 kilograms. All that is to say, scientifically speaking, T-Rex was big as fuck. Honestly, I'm not surprised this question showed up, but it doesn't mean I'm not a little disappointed. That said, I promised I would answer all of your dumb questions, so here we go. The answer is neither. Neither would win. Why? Because they never even met. T-Rex, once again, lived 68 to 66 million years ago in North America, but Spinosaurus lived 100 to 94 million years ago in North Africa. That said, let's assume the two animals did meet, then what? I'll quote paleontologist Dr. David Hone for this one. I've refused on principle to answer the question who would win in a fight, because I think it's the most trite, boring, and uninteresting thing one could possibly say about dinosaurs, even in fiction. But it's T-Rex. Overall, T-Rex would be described as a incredibly strong wild beefcake, while Spinosaurus was a not quite as strong chill fisherman. Okay, so much like you should really smash the like button if you're somehow enjoying this stupid video, I really like Jurassic Park. In fact, it's my favorite movie of all time, but ultimately it is a piece of science fiction. That said, unlike with the modern films such as Jurassic World Afterbirth, the OG movie did have a lot of care put into making its dinosaurs mostly accurate for the time. Still, plenty of artistic liberties were taken, and one of the fictional aspects of the movie is that T-Rex couldn't see you if you didn't move. This is quite frankly a low to Triceratops species, as T-Rex is known to have had up to 13 times the visual acuity of a human, and even surpassed the visual acuity of a hawk too. That's not even mentioning the fact that it's also believed to have had a crazy, strong, bloodhound-like sense of smell. Once yet again, Tyrannosaurus rex lived up until 66 million BCE, and do you know what happened roughly 66 million BCE? Why, nothing short of God smiting the entire planet. You see, in the early 1970s, in the Yucatan Peninsula in the Gulf of Mexico, science hippies found an absolutely enormous impact crater. The crater is believed to have been created by a massive asteroid, one measuring 6 to 9 miles, or 10 to 15 kilometers wide, that collided with the Earth about 66.043 million years ago. This coincides exactly with the sudden disappearance of all non-bird dinosaurs, including T-Rex, and most other land animals weighing more than 55 pounds or 25 kilograms from the fossil record. In other words, a lot of things came to an end because of one stupid space rock. Luckily, that'll never happen again. So there you have it, all your dumb questions about T-Rex answered. Poorly, of course. I've spilled my guts, exhausted my research, and probably confused more people than I've enlightened. That said, if you somehow enjoyed this highly questionable journey into prehistory, or just appreciate a debatably human voice cutting through the algorithm, then watch the showcase utterly deplorable video next. Or don't, your call. Now get the hell freak out of here.